This is a review of Ryu Murakami's novel, Audition. Audition is the novel that provided the inspiration, as for most people know it, as Takashi Miike's cult horror movie, so most people will know the plot, but I'll explain it anyway. It follows the widow Aoyama, who has been a widow for 7 years since his wife's death, which is explained at the start of the book, and he hasn't dated for 7 years. His son Shige encourages him to remarry, which he takes up on his advice since he's in his middle age, so he decides remarriage would be the best option. So he decides to, in order to find a wife, hold an audition. And there are thousands of applicants, one of which catches his eye is a former ballerina named Asami, and she goes out of ballet because of an injury she sustained as a child. It all starts off well and good, as you'd expect, but things take a turn for the worse, and it leads up to the climax most people know from the movie. Now, it's translated from the Japanese, so it's not perfect. There are a couple of errors here and there. It calls Shige his daughter on one or two occasions, and that bugged me a bit. This isn't a lot like the film. There are a lot of things it does differently. The ending is done differently. Obviously, I'm not going to explain the ending here. You'll have to read it and find out. Asami's character is handled differently. She's explained more, the psychology behind her, towards the end of the novel, but how can I phrase this? The way it handles the character, I feel, was done slightly better in the book, because it explains her psychology more, but in the film she came across as being slightly more sinister, which was good. Now, this book is a very good book. I like this book. It's good to read. The ending I didn't see coming because I'd only seen the film beforehand, and obviously that's different. There were a couple of things I preferred from the film as opposed to the book. For instance, the ending I didn't mind either way. The endings both were fine. One thing that bugged me was the sex in the book. It sounds stupid, but the way Miike handled it in the movie, it showed some of the innocence of Asami's character, but Murakami's descriptions of it, they got on my nerves a bit, because it's not, considering the character, I don't think it was a particularly good idea, but hey, that's just me. The book, it's quite a short book. I've read it in like 2 sittings or something. The tension is handled again very differently in the book as opposed to the way it's done in the film. The film uses a false sense of security, romancy thing, which makes the ending slightly more shocking, I suppose, and the way the book does it is it uses foreshadowing. After saying a passage about Asami, Murakami would put in a line, for instance, he described her face, and at the end of it he put it was a face that would show no guilt if it killed a man, or something similar to that. Now, the main point for this, the main character, is Aoyama, and the idea behind him is they set him up to be a nice guy. You don't want bad things to happen to him, because he feels almost guilty about the audition, but he's, I suppose, blinded by love, his relationship with Asami, but he's a nice guy. You don't want bad things to happen to him. Murakami's writing, it's very good, aside from, as I said earlier, a couple of issues with the translation, but overall it's good. It's the way it's all described, it's well written, not a load of grammar errors considering it's a translation. Something else. Of course, the infamous torture scene, for everyone knows from the film. Basically everyone knows it, so spoiler alert, just in case. But it's when Asami numbs Aoyama and chops off his foot. Just much more gruesome in the book than it is in the film. It's described more the severing of his Achilles tendon, I believe, is in the film, but so I suppose it's slightly more out and out, straight line shocking in the book because it's more graphic. Asami's character in this is, as I said, handled slightly differently, but the idea behind, I'll have to explain Asami's character. It's a spoiler, but most people know it, so again, spoiler alert, but the idea behind Asami's character is she had an abusive stepfather who would both physically and sexually abuse her throughout her childhood. It's not like described explicitly, it's implied. It's also implied that her injury that caused her to retire from ballet was caused by the stepfather, and that is then explains the psychology more, which I thought was good. And just to finish off an overall idea of the book, I think if you've watched the film, definitely read the book. The book handles it differently, and it has a few just different bits. I thought some worked better, for instance, like Asami's psychology, but some didn't work as well, like the sex. I think the foreshadowing was done quite effectively. Obviously, I knew the end because the basics of the ending because I'd seen the film, but it was still handled really well. The second half of this book, I suppose the horror half, is its strongest half because it's almost the bits when they go on their vacation away together. Bits of that are almost quite surreal, the way she seems to disappear. He wonders if he's dreaming or not. That's all cleverly done. It's well written, creates an interesting atmosphere, which was present in the film to a different extent, because some of the main kind of creepy, gross scenes in the film, like the bowl of vomit, they weren't in the book, but I thought the book did the vacation bit slightly better in terms of atmosphere than the film did. It is a good book. I liked it. It was good. I'd read it again. Like I said, if you've seen the film, read the book. If you want to see the film, read the book first. I think it would make slightly more sense. I always did that until Audition, because I didn't know it was a book until I saw the film, so yeah. But yeah, I think it's a good book, so read it. This is my first review I've ever done. So yeah, thanks for watching.